Tanny Games here. Welcome back to the channel. Back here with another video today, obviously. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some of the things I want to see added to Disney Dreamlight Valley. Now, thinking back to how the game was when it first began and everything like that, Gameloft have made brilliant steps in terms of like evolving the game, making it better. One of the biggest changes they did was to the Scrooge shop in the recent update, and that has been fantastic. So I know that they're open to changes and that they're willing to implement features and stuff like that. So I thought I'd go through some of the stuff that I want to see personally added to Disney Dreamlight Valley. Now let's start off with my first annoyance, which you might guess from the backdrop here. I would love for the option for mannequins to be placed outdoors. So at the moment we do have mannequins. I think they're a really great feature in game, especially when it comes to things like dream snaps. But sadly they can only be placed indoors. Now, when they first advertised mannequins, my first thought, or my first expectation, I guess you could say, like the thing that I really wanted to do was actually add them to my theme park. So I had a theme park in the Forest of Valor, and I actually loved the setup that I did in the Forest of Valor for the theme park. But I really like the idea of potentially using mannequins to act as like people in a queue for a ride, or stall owners and stuff like that. Like they could be selling the merch. And then imagine my disappointment when the update came and I realised that mannequins could only be used indoors. Yeah, I wasn't too happy with that. I was really gutted because a lot of my plans revolved around using mannequins like outdoors, and I just think how good they could be for dream snaps. Like with this recent snap that we've had, the Moana's village, imagine if you could create residents of Moana's village, really like driving home the point of a village of people. But you can't do that because you can't use mannequins outdoors. Which is very, very frustrating. And I just think, like, imagine if you could do the superhero dream snap that we did and do it outdoors and have, like, create a villain character on a mannequin and then you as the superhero and sort of reenact this, like, battle scene or something like that. Like, there were so many things that I wanted to do with mannequins, but I could only do them if they were outdoors. So I would love for that to be changed. I would love to be able to place them outdoors. Every update since we've had the mannequins, which hasn't been that many, one of the first things I do is check whether they can be placed outdoors, because it's something that I really, really want. So this is probably one of my number one things that I want actually added to the game. So please, Gameloft, let us put mannequins outdoors. I would say it'd be nice if they could up the limit that you can have in a room as well, but I've never come across that issue myself personally. But I know people have like fashion setups, like wardrobes and closets and things like that. So for those people, I reckon it would be good to be able to place multiple mannequins in a room, whereas at the moment the limit is 5. So yeah, maybe get rid of that limit and let us place them outdoors, please. Now, my second issue, I guess you could say, or addition to the game that I would like to see come, is changes to the camera mode. So if we come into the camera mode here, we have a limit of like 3 poses, I guess you could say. We have this pointing finger, we have the hand out, and we have this like rah kind of like pose. We do also have, if you zoom out, we have a couple of like body poses. So a hand on hip, we have this kind of like hands to the side, we have this like angry pose, and then we have the critter poses. I'm really glad that we do have these, but I would love for there to be a lot more poses. Like imagine like just thinking of popular emotes, like imagine if we could do like a surprised face, or like a laughing, or like even a sad. I know no one wants to think that in like a Disney happy world, but like imagine you could do like a sad pose for some photos. It might be kind of funny. Or just, yeah, like I hate to say it because I'm not a Fortnite fan, but like Fortnite has like a ton of emotes, right? Like, why can't they add in something like that? It would make Dream Snap so much more dynamic. Um, but not only that, but like Palia, even Palia has different emotes, like the sitting down, you can wave and stuff like that. Like, I just think it would make such a difference to Dream Snaps. I think you would have a lot more unique photos and stuff like that if we had more poses. I do currently like the angles that we have. So we do have this one which you can spin around. You can zoom up, you can't go down, but I mean, I guess you don't need to go too far down. It would be nice if we could see like sometimes the tops of the buildings. Like imagine if this isn't Chez Remy, but imagine we could see the top of Chez Remy and stuff like that. I guess you'd just have to move further forward. We do have this camera angle which does let you zoom out, which is so helpful. So I do like this. I think this is a really great addition. You can zoom in and stuff like that. It's sometimes a bit tricky to control. Like you can zoom in too far or like not quite get the angle that you want, but like I do like this generally speaking. So yeah, I think we're kind of okay for stuff like that. And then we've obviously got the selfie. I think it might be nice if we had like an in between, like a from the waist up kind of view. That might be kind of nice. But maybe I'm the only one that kind of thinks that. I would also like to see more filters. So I find like a lot of the filters like this, I don't know about it. It's just the tones. They all seem to like be a bit too bright. Like I feel like we could use with like a blue toned filter or something like that. Something that doesn't wash out every character, because everyone, like apart from this one maybe, tends to wash out the characters. Another thing as well, this filter on the top right, so the fourth one along, does actually unblur the background, so it is fantastic. I do love that background, that filter, how it unblurs the background. It can be really useful in Dream Snap sometimes. But it does only have this one tone, so like maybe if we had a couple more options like this where it unblurred the background and then sort of had different tones to it, I think that would be really good. And then we do have some frames. I don't mind the frames too much. I actually really like this pink frame. When it's used correctly, it has a real dreamy magical feel, which I love. I do love the black bars. I think they're very cinematic. I don't actually really like these. I thought they were cute, but realistically they just feel a bit too, they feel a bit gimmicky. Maybe that's just me. I just feel like they're a little bit gimmicky. The white one's not too bad either. But yeah, just like maybe a couple more of these would be kind of nice. One of the things that I do want to talk about that I love, and I know other people hate it, but like as a content creator, one of the best changes they made was that when you hide the UI, you can spin your camera around, you can move it no end, and the UI does not pop up. And personally, as a content creator, I think that's amazing. I used to hate like having to worry about accidentally clicking my mouse or the screen and then bringing the UI up in a video. It's so frustrating. So to be able to have this kind of like control and everything like that, not only that, but it's kind of good for like taking videos and stuff like that. Like obviously the mouse is here, but if I in my OBS settings just resize this allows me to get some really nice kind of like, I want to say like cinematic-y shots or whatever. Like I can take videos with this and it's so helpful. Now I know a lot of people would prefer to be able to back out whilst it's like that. I do agree. I think we could have that change, that if you pressed escape it would just escape from the photo mode. I don't think I mind that. But personally I love this hide in the UI and still being able to control and not have the UI pop up, because personally that was a massive pet peeve of mine. So I know a lot of other content creators have said that they don't like this change, but I do. So yeah, I do like this. I think this was a great addition. Now, whilst we're talking about camera angles, I do want to talk about the furniture mode camera angle. Now, again, as a content creator, I wish, like, I don't know if this was a bug or deliberate, but this is the max that I can angle my camera down. So when I take videos and stuff like that, like I took a video for my plaza area for when I decorated this, and you can you can sort of tell which shots are taken from a furniture angle, because this is as low as you can get. It's such a high like angle point that you do miss a lot of the details. I know some people complain that it's a lot more difficult for decorating, and I do agree. I agree with that. It's not too bad. Like, you can zoom in and stuff and everything. Like, it for me, my big issue is, as a content creator perspective, that I wish I could get better angles for taking screenshots and videos and stuff like that, and pictures. So yeah, like, the decorating isn't too bad, apart from when you get, so let me go to my junkyard here. Sometimes it's a bit difficult with these smaller pieces on the tables and stuff like that, that it's, oh god. Yeah, sometimes the camera does that. That's not fun. But yeah, getting some of these angled onto tables can be a bit difficult because you can't get down low, so you can't really see the accurate positioning sometimes for stuff, or it makes it a bit tricky that way. So yeah, I do wish they would fix this. I don't know if this was a bug or intended, but this I do want to see them change. I just hope that they don't get rid of that UI setting, because I love that. Now, coming to my next point, I know a lot of people talk about turning on and off spawns of certain items. I think that would actually be a really good idea. But I only want it if you can manually select which items turn off. Like, I don't want a all or nothing button. So these time bending orbs can be very annoying. I'm gonna say this so often, you guys are gonna get sick of me, but as a content creator, it's annoying if you're trying to get like screenshots or anything like that, and then one of these orbs pops up, and then you have to get rid of it and then try and get your screenshot and video again. These can be useful in Dream Snaps. I've seen them used in a lot of creative ways, especially with the superhero submissions. So I don't want them gone, because I did like originally think, well, what if they only showed up whilst you had the hourglass out? But seeing how people have creatively used them in Dream Snaps, I don't want that to be a thing, because I think, again, it's just like, it limits the creativity, I think, of certain people. So yeah, I think just individually being able to select it, like being able to turn off the herbs, and stuff like that, like the spices that spawn, the twigs and everything like that. Like, I don't mind sometimes getting these things spawn, especially when you're decorating. They can add a real kind of like natural element to a build. But certainly in like city core builds or stuff like that, they can be a little bit annoying, and these orbs are definitely very frustrating because they're not like easily hidden. Like, when I come down here, ignore the massive night fawns, but like, for instance, some of the little like, what is it, oregano here, like, they're hidden and tucked away in like areas. I can't find any now. See, well, I guess that proves my point. Yeah, see, like here, there's one here, but it kind of like blends in with the foliage. So for like these natural builds, it's probably not so bad, but like, at least definitely in those kind of more structured builds. It's quite frustrating. So I would love the ability to turn on and off the spawns for these time bending orbs and possibly some of the other naturally spawning items in the valley. Now, the next feature that I would love to be able to change is the ability to control characters in photo mode for dream snaps. So, I would love to maybe be able to have the ability to go up to a character and say, hey, stay here. And they would stay in that position or that place. Which would make it a lot more easier for dream snaps. You wouldn't have to do all this struggle of like blocking characters in with stones or other items and stuff like that. So I would definitely love the ability to have some sort of control over characters, or tell them to strike a pose or something. Like you could go up to them and say, hey, strike a pose, and then Moana would get into like this pose, for instance, or maybe her dancing pose. I think that would be so fun, and again, another way to elevate dream snaps, because I've had to settle on my own dream snap for Moana just with like her hand on her hip, because I couldn't get her to do the dance and time it with Pua doing something cute and everything like that. So it was so stressful, and I know other people have the same issues and stuff. So I would love this ability to be able to control characters in a way. I sort of think back to Animal Crossing when you used to go to Harvey's Island and you could take photos and stuff, and you could like tell the characters to do a certain pose, and then you'd press a button, like you press X or something, and then they would do that pose. I would love that kind of ability. That might be a much more difficult thing to program in game. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I'm obviously not a programmer or anything like that, but I would love for them to add something like that. Or even if maybe when you're in camera mode, you have a thing like a button that you can press, and it's called like strike a pose or something like that, and you press that button and any characters in the scene will do a posing animation. So at the moment obviously she's posing because I'm in selfie mode, but the second I come out, that's it, she wanders off, she does her own thing and everything like that. Now imagine if when we had this, we had on the like the user interface here, we had a button and it's just like pose or something like that, and then we click it and anyone in that scene will then do their pose, whatever it is they do, and then you could click that button, hit E, snap your photo, and job's done. Like I think that would be really, really fun. Again, don't really know the ins and outs of how hard that would be or anything like that, but that's something that I would love to see added. For sure. And going on from that, I would love to be able to control the weather. Maybe add it as another thing in the interface here. So at the moment we have 4 sections. Imagine if we had a 5th section and you could click it and you could click morning, night, afternoon, sunset, dawn. Like I know you can change the time of day in the settings, but imagine if you could do it with one click in Dream Snaps. Just click a button and it would give you like a morning lighting or a nighttime lighting or something like that. And then you could also click on weather, so you could click cloudy, you could click rainy, you could click sunny, and have those changes only apply in like the photo mode, because I do appreciate that Dreamlight Valley don't want you to control the weather fully, because there's certain things that only spawn during certain weather times, like the fugu fish only spawning during raining weather. So I think maybe having it as like something you can control from photo mode, and then when you back out of photo mode, everything goes back to normal and defaults. Now I do obviously worry, like, would that cause issues potentially with lags, like changing from like a stormy weather to a day, or like a nighttime scene to a day? I'm not entirely sure, but I think that would be a great addition to the game. Now, my next issue is with Eternity Isle. There are some changes I would love to see come to Eternity Isle. Whether that's planned or not, I'm not entirely sure. But when I think back to when we had our showcase and they went through a lot of details about Eternity Isle and everything like that, there were clips or trailers that showed us watering a garden on Eternity Isle and stuff like that. So I would love the ability to have a Wally's garden, a Moana boat, potentially a flower stall on Eternity Isle, so that we can easily get those Eternity Isle crops and stuff like that. I think it would just be a great addition. We just need like we could rebuild Moana's boat here. We could rebuild Wally's garden. We could add another beast greenhouse. I would happily pay again with the gold coins to rebuild. Like, you know how in the beginning of the game you have to build up Wally's garden, same with Moana's boat and stuff. I would happily go through that process again on Eternity Isle, if they didn't want it to be something that you just immediately got. But I do feel it was kind of a little bit misleading advertising when they did show the Wally Garden in Eternity Isle. I mean, it was even in the artwork, I think they showed a garden and stuff, yet there isn't that on Eternity Isle. Now, I don't know if they have plans for the storyline on Eternity Isle, that maybe if we fix the rift in time, all that stuff comes to Eternity Isle. That is a possibility. I don't know. But yeah, I would just love some addition like that. It would make it a lot easier for gathering some of the items from Eternity Isle, because at the moment you just have to kind of run around and gather everything, and it can be a little bit frustrating, especially with certain flowers that are very, very rare, and again with fish that are very rare. So I would love to see them add that to Eternity Isle, even if they themed it or decorated it so they weren't exactly like the ones that we had in game and they more fixed the background of Eternity Isle. That would be another cool feature as well. But if it had to be the same, I wouldn't be against that either way. But I think there should be a resource collection method in Eternity Isle. Now, I know some people are probably going to say, well, we have ancient vacuums and stuff like that. But my only downside with that is that, for instance, if I put an ancient vacuum here, picked up all the flowers and stuff like that, it would ruin how I've decorated this part of the valley, which is why having a dedicated stall or stand, I think, would be beneficial. I'm currently being photobombed, so why don't we go over it and talk about the next change that I want to see come to Disney Dreamlight Valley. Now, I'm here by the multiplayer portal because the next changes I want to see come to the valley are in relation to multiplayer. So there's a lot of changes I think needs to come to multiplayer. They have said there are going to be changes coming to multiplayer. I have expressed previously that I do kind of wish or think that maybe they should have held off on multiplayer till they had a few more features included with it. I feel like multiplayer is bare bones. I don't really use it, to be honest, because I mean, I have used it for like my Tanny challenges and stuff like that. Like, I often have people come to the valley. It's a great way of giving people like resources when they win a challenge. But if I didn't make content, again, as a content creator, I feel so stupid saying that. You're gonna be so sick of me. You guys are gonna like turn off the video because you've had enough. But basically, otherwise, if I was just playing casually, would I use multiplayer? No, not a chance. Not a chance. It just doesn't have anything to it. The only thing is to go for Scrooge stores, and now that Scrooge store has had its update, visiting other people's valleys for the Scrooge store feels a bit worthless to me. I mean, I have used it obviously, but I just feel it's so bare boned and everything like that, that multiplayer just isn't really a feature. It's just something that's there. So I would love the ability to emote in multiplayer. You know, if we could wave to our friends. I appreciate that we don't have like voice acting and stuff like that, so I'm not asking to be able to say stuff. But like if we could have an emote like a wave hello, or anything like that, like even a dance emote or something, like anything, like just to be able to like pose would be so much fun. I would also like the ability to use tools in multiplayer mode. Now, I know this is a very controversial one because people don't want people coming over and stealing resources and stuff like that. But like, I've seen a lot of people complaining about the duty to mine the diamonds in the Forgotten Lands and how difficult that's been. And you only have to mine two, yet people have really struggled with it. Imagine if you could say, hey friend, come over to my valley. I've got a couple of rocks that seem to have diamonds in them. Why don't you try and mine them and see if you get a shiny? Like, that could be so helpful and like beneficial and stuff. And I appreciate that we can share resources, so at least like if someone needs something for a quest, like they need the clay for Minnie's quest, you know, we can do that. But like, even if they limited it to like maybe only certain tools, like imagine if you had your friends come over and help you like water your pumpkins, or I don't know. It's a controversial one. I appreciate not of people like that, but I would kind of like some ability to be able to do that. Like imagine if you were sat with your friends and you just casually fishing. Like it gives you a purpose to visit out someone's valley. You can just hang out. Like imagine you're in a Discord voice chat and you're both just like fishing along. Like I think that would be fun. Why does Maui keep hassling me? Go away. Um, and then lastly, with the multiplayer changes, I want to use the camera. If we can't use our tools, at least let us use our camera. One, again, imagine if we could use that for dream snaps. But secondly, if we can use the camera mode, we can take pictures with our friends. We can share the adventures we have, our multiplayer experiences and stuff like that. At the moment, you just kind of have to screenshot, and it's a hassle, or like you're taking photos of your TV and whatnot. So I definitely think that at least letting us use our camera is something that they have to add. I don't care about playing Scrabble coin with friends. I mean, I would love that, but I think at the bare minimum, let us take photos. Let us access our camera from the in the multiplayer mode, so we can take photos with our friends. I think that's the very least that we should get. Now, the next feature I would love to have them add to the game is the ability to buy more premium houses. Now, what I mean by that is currently when we buy a premium house, we have two options we can use. We can place it down as its own individual house in the valley, which I love, and I love that we can decorate the interior and everything like that. I think that's fantastic. And then the other option is we can place it as a skin on our regular house, which again is fantastic. But our limit is two. So we can have two of the same buildings in our valley, and that is it. And I would like to see that changed. I think there's some areas where you could benefit with having multiple of the same kind of building. So for instance, here I've got this like mini kind of city core layout here, which I just quickly whipped up for recording a different video that I did. And imagine if I could expand this. Imagine if I could use multiple of these apartment buildings and stuff like that. I think it would really add to those who like to create city core builds. Not only that, but in Eternity Isle, I use the Desert Palace in my marketplace. And I wish I could have a couple of those dotted around in different spaces just to give the area a bit more life, and things like that. Or again, like if we could add a couple of different buildings, like perhaps this could work really well in Eternity Isle. I've not checked. But again, just kind of having that ability to place more of the premium shop houses would be really, really nice. Or like imagine in the sea and you had multiple of Eric's boat and stuff like that. Like I just think visually it could look really, really cool. So I would love for them to give us the option that once we've bought a premium house skin, we can place it multiple times. I would just love that addition, especially with some of the cottages. Like imagine if you could do multiple of the purple cottages and stuff like that. I think that would be great, especially if you want to create like a little village setup, and stuff like that. So I don't think we need masses. Like I don't need to place like 10 of the purple cottage, but like for instance, if I have different areas of my valley, like for instance I have a city core build like this, and then I use my main house to create an extra Monsters Inc house, I then can't have 2 of the purple cottage, say, in a cottage core area, or things like that. It sort of really limits you. Whereas being able to place a couple of the same things, it means that I could have an area of my valley that was potentially city core. I could have an area that was very cottage core. I could have, you know, lots of different aspects of it. Like even on the beach, I could use a couple of different houses and stuff like that. So that is something that I would really like to see come to the game. I think it would be a great addition personally. Now, the next thing that I want to see come to the game is a search bar in furniture mode. It is such a stress, especially with how long I've had this game, to go through every single item to find the one item you like. I do appreciate that there are filters, for instance, like you can select based on essentials, you can select based on seating, but some of the tags and categories don't seem to make a lot of sense. So having a search bar would make that easier. Like there's certain items like the fountain tile and what is often known as rock rug, i.e. the rocky terrain, that sometimes it's just a pain trying to find. So being able to type in part of the like the item name would be so helpful. Yeah, I would just really love that. Or even if you could like search for an item alphabetically, because if I know an item's called fountain tile, I could just order by like alphabetize it, and then I just scroll through till I get to like the F category, and then I'm able to find it. That's something that I would really love to see come to the game. Now, I've come here for my next issue that I would love to see them fix in game, which is for them to potentially change the sizing of some items, or at least the grid system that items are placed on, so that you could center items. So, for instance, we have a 5 item here and we have a 4 item, so a 4 square item. So, obviously, I can't center these, but if like we could like do like a half tile movement, that would be so handy and stuff like that. I know that they can resize items in game because we have plenty of items that have been resized. Like recently, the one that sticks out in my mind is the silver platter set, which was like a giant 8x8 or something, and then they shrunk it to a 4x4, which was very, very useful. But yeah, I would just love to see him do some kind of like centering ability. I don't know whether they have to change the sizes of the items, or if they just need to change the grid placement so that there's half tiles. Like I just think that would be so useful, because I know it's an issue that a lot of us complain about. Not only that, but like for instance with paths, we often can't get paths to line up with the buildings, and that feels like such a basic thing that you would have a path line up to a building. I mean, let's face it, if you look at the Snuggly Duckling Tavern and the Mushroom House, they have their own paths coming out of the doorways, so they know that we would want to place some kind of paving. And I don't understand why we just can't center it. So definitely they either need to change the grid system or like the sizing of items so that they can be like centered and things like that. Like aesthetically, that's what a lot of people do in decorating. So I would love for them to add that change. Now, the next feature that I would love to see them add to the game is the ability to deconstruct crafted items. Even if they were deconstructed only partially, so as in like you only got some of your resources back. So I think back to when they added bordered paths in the game. That was a big change. It made a lot of people very, very happy. You know, we wanted the bordered paths. And I just remember feeling upset and devastated when I realized I was going to have to craft all these paths again and gather the materials again. Like, it was a lot of work. So for people that have been following my channel for a long time, you'll know that I originally had my plaza in this golden opal road. It took me months of grinding to be able to get the resources to fully pave the plaza with this golden opal road. And then I had to grind it all again so that I could get the golden opal road with border, so it looked nicer, so it looked cleaner, more professional, more structured and stuff like that. And this pretty much goes to waste because I don't really ever use it. So I'd love the ability to kind of deconstruct this, and then like for instance when they first added the bordered paths, I could deconstruct this and make the new bordered path, which I think would be so helpful and so handy. Especially for people who like to do a lot of decorating or changing up their valley and how it looks and its appearance. It would be really useful to be able to kind of like deconstruct these. And like I said, even if we deconstructed them at a cost, so we only got like 50% of the resources back, I would be happy with that because at least we're getting something. Because currently at the moment, I mean, they don't do anything, they're not harming anything, but like I've got all this path that is just like never going to get used. It's never going to be used and it's kind of a waste. So I would rather have those materials back in some form or be able to have converted them into something else. So the option of deconstructing materials is something that I would love to see come to the game. And now we get to talk about the final thing I want added into Dreamlight Valley. And again, this is an addition that I really want. I need it to happen and I'm really upset. This is something that really bugs me. Why can't we overlay jackets or coats onto dresses? It is beyond frustrating. So we have this absolutely adorable outfit here. I love it. Let me just add a jacket to it. Oh wait, if I add a coat to it, I lose my dress. I cannot wear like, I mean, you can with some, like some you can add skirts to, for instance, but there are certain coats and stuff that you can't use like skirts and jackets with. So I think of the grey winter gala coat, and I understand potentially for some of the dresses that have like these big poofy elements like the Once Upon a Ball gown, the royal gold ball gown, I understand because it wouldn't mesh. But when you have like simple skirts like this black pleated skirt, it doesn't have a lot of space on it. It doesn't come out of the body shape very large. And I just feel like with that, we should be able to overlay them. Like even, I mean, this like overlays on top this retro-tastic jacket, which is great. But then as soon as I change to the retro-tastic mini dress, it can't be worn with it. But this dress doesn't flare out more than what that skirt just did. It's literally the same dimensions. So I don't understand why we can't overlay these coats onto dresses. I would love for them to be able to do that. as I said, for some of the bigger dresses like these, you know, I understand not being able to, but some of these dresses are so like form fitting, I want to say, that it makes no sense that we can't overlay a jacket with them, because like it's not like it's pushing the jacket out. Like I was honestly so surprised when I realized I couldn't use this dress with the jacket that it comes with as like an item. It makes literally no sense to me. um so yeah, like I understand something like this, you can't put a jacket over. It's going to be difficult. But this, why can we not put a jacket on this? Honestly, tell me why. That's all I want to do is be able to wear like a cute little jacket with it. And it's so frustrating being able to build certain items. And like I think for dream snaps as well, like when you come to outfit challenges, I don't wear dresses because you can't. I mean, you can get the tags high enough because people submit in dresses all the time, but like you can't get the tags that high because there's so many items you can't overlay. And I would love the option to be able to add jackets to dresses. Like I said, understand the struggles with like a ball gown, but if it is like a form fitting dress, if it's something that's close to your like body figure outline, we should be able to wear jackets with them. Yeah, I would just love that addition. It is very frustrating to me. But maybe that's just a me problem, perhaps. I don't know. Um, but yeah, there we go. There's all the changes that I would love to see come to Dreamlight Valley. Let me know in the comments down below, what changes would you like to see? Are there any other features you think are missing? What do you think of these ideas that I've suggested? Would you love to see those changes or not? I would love to hear what you have to say. So yeah, please feel free to leave a comment down below so I can have a talk about it. We can discuss our ideas, and maybe potentially Dreamlight Valley might take notice and make some changes to the game. But thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys!